Great. So welcome everybody. As I said, a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. I will ask that if you are not speaking, you please do stay on mute. As I just mentioned, we will be recording. So for the sake of the recording and for the viewing pleasure of everyone later, it will be best if everyone stays muted unless they are speaking. For our attendees on the chat, there are two ways you can make comments or ask questions. There's a chat box for most viewing on a computer on the top bar, but we will have a Q&A portion at the end. And with the activities button, which is the button that is the triangle, square, circle, you will see a Q&A feature. That'll be the best place to insert any questions for that Q&A portion. We will cover them at the end, as I mentioned. So for today's session, I'm going to do a brief overview of facilities management, and then we're going to have four wonderful panelists who are going to talk about their experience in the industry. So what is facilities management? Essentially, facility management includes proper preventative maintenance, emergency repair, and carefully thought out construction planning necessary to operate a facility so that the tenants are safe and the environment surrounding them promotes productivity and a comfortable and fun or active atmosphere. The primary role of a facilities manager includes grounds maintenance, building exterior maintenance, building interior maintenance, building support systems maintenance, and associate or tenant engagement. So what are the functions of facilities managers? They include the staffing, budgeting, planning, and people management. We'll hear a lot more about this from our panelists. And more so, what skills are required? Effective facilities managers have strong decision-making, problem-solving skills, communication, planning, organization, implementation, a customer focus, entrepreneurial skills, and technical skills. And finally, what type of businesses hire facility managers? They include office buildings, manufacturing plants, condominium complexes, hotels, large amusement parks, resorts, apartment buildings, restaurant chains, college and universities and hospitals, and the list goes on and on. So while that was a brief overview of facilities management, we are going to now hear from our four panelists. I believe everyone's on the call. We have Eric, Gary, Bill, Ron. Great. So how this is going to work is I'm going to ask a variety of questions, and we're going to go in order, in the same order. So we're going to start with Eric, just as it appears on my screen. I'll call on you individually, answer the question. So we're going to start with an introduction, your name, your title, and who you work for. Eric?
Thanks, Kimberly. My name is Eric McKay. I am an area maintenance supervisor, and I work for Frederick County Public Schools, a local district here in my area where I live.
Thank you, Eric. And Bill?
Thanks, Kimberly. My name is Bill Sell. I'm one of the senior facilities managers for Jones Lang LaSalle, assigned to the T. Rowe Price account. And I've been working either for T. Rowe or for JLL at this location for approximately 27 years.
Thank you. And Gary?
Hi, Kim. Thank you. I appreciate being here today. My name is Gary Pfeiffer. I am the Director of Facility Services at Mercy Ridge, retirement community in Timonium. I have been here at Mercy Ridge for about 20 years. I was fortunate to get on board as we were preparing to open the property. I've been involved with facilities management for over 35 years. Prior to Mercy Ridge, I was with Aramark Facilities Management.
Thank you, Gary and Ron.
Hi, Kimberly, and thank you. My name is Ron Sauter. I'm Vice President with Martin's Catering here in Baltimore and DC area. I'm the Vice President of Facilities and Property Management for them. I've been there for about 15 years now, actually a little bit over 15 years. And I've got with Gary about 30 years worth of experience in facility management. And I'm also president of the IFMA Chesapeake chapter here for the local Maryland area. So International Facility Management Association.
Ron, thank you. That was such a great segue into my next comment. I want to thank all of you for being here now that we have heard your title as well as the company that you work for. We're going to hear a little bit about how you got there. And one way of how you got here today is I want to thank IFMA Chesapeake for setting this up. It has been a great opportunity to be able to bring them in with ACE. We're going to hear a little bit about how you started and how you got interested, maybe in facilities management or the built environment industry as a whole. Eric?
Thank you, Kimberly. You know, I really like talking about this. It's an exciting topic for me. I guess I'm going to want to say it started at a young age. I was always the guy that had his bicycle tore apart. We were building go-karts out of lawn tractors and things like that on the floor of my mother's laundry room. So my fascination with machines and moving parts, I think, lured me toward the mechanical fields at a young age, and I was very fortunate to get an opportunity and get scooped up by a contractor that was willing to send me to school, pay for my schooling while I worked during the day, went to school at night, and progressed from there. I'll say starting in HVAC is kind of when it all started for me. And then from there, I found a lot of opportunities in the FM profession that allowed me to work with all different kinds of machinery and systems and subsystems. Just fascinating to me. So I will say that, you know, my experience in working in different types of facilities and types of buildings. I've been in federal sites. I've been in office environments. It really has helped me and given me great confidence in my technical abilities. And I think that's a lot of what I owe a lot of my successes to.
Thank you, Eric. And Bill, a little bit about how you came to be interested in FM or facilities management or the built environment industry.
Thanks, Kimberly. My father was an engineer, and quite frankly, he would take me to his the company that he worked for, which was Teledyne Energy Systems. He would take me there on the weekends if he had a project he was working on. I had to, check on something, and he worked on power generation equipment, notably that which was used in the Pioneer and Viking space probes and the Curiosity Mars landers that were sent up and roamed around the planet's surface. And I guess because of that, I got a real interest in just the engineering field in general. I actually worked there with my dad one summer working on building and testing thermoelectric generators, which were used out on the oil platforms in the Gulf of Mexico. And, all those experiences kind of piqued my interest in the engineering field. My father was a mechanical engineer, but I really found more interest in the electrical side, and that's what I pursued in college, and got a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering there. Graduated in '92 and had a hard time finding a engineering position at the time, so I took a temp position with T. Rowe Price, ironically enough, working in their mailroom, and worked myself up from there and into their facilities department. And kind of the rest is history. Again, I was there for almost 24 plus years, and then transitioned over to JLL in support of that account. So that's kind of my circuitous route to the FM world.
Thank you, Bill. And Gary?
Well, I may be a little different than the first two gentlemen who shared, but not necessarily different from a lot of other folks in the FM world as we've talked over the years. I had no plans on getting involved with facilities management. I didn't even know what facilities management was. I had gone through schooling with a very different plan for myself. But as circumstances would present themselves, I had an opportunity to join Aramark Facility Services as they were just expanding in the Philadelphia region through a friend from college. I can't say that I had a heavy interest at that point in time, but I did get started with Aramark back in '83. Prior to that, I was some of my high school or college jobs found me in hospitals, taking care of floors, buffing, stripping, refinishing floors at nights and over the summer. So I guess I have a little bit of that experience from the facility side behind me there. But having gotten involved with Aramark Facility Services and just starting to branch out to different properties, when I did leave Aramark and had the opportunity to take a much larger step in my facilities career with Mercy Ridge, it really did open the door to a lot of new experiences, new challenges. But it was something that I guess you would say I stumbled into. I don't feel bad that I did. It's been a great career for me, a great opportunity, a great learning environment, and a fantastic place to meet and engage with a lot of other great folks. Just to have a good time, but to solve problems. Never sitting around at the same place, the same time each day. Everything's a different challenge. So there's a lot of neat things about it that I've appreciated over the years.
Thank you, Gary. And Ron, a little bit about how you got interested in FM.
Well, I kind of started out the same as Eric. I've always worked with Dad around the house and tinkering with different things and tearing apart bicycles and lawnmowers as I was growing up. My first major full-time job was I started off in a facility position, just a general light bulb changer, fix the carpet here, paint, touch up here and there, and worked really hard at it. And I found that the harder you worked, it was a large company that I worked for, the more people were interested in you. So I started getting pulled to different job positions. I was a refrigeration mechanic for a while. I worked on a full mechanized conveyor warehouse system for a few years. I was a forklift mechanic for about 6 years. There wasn't any job that I couldn't do, and I wanted to learn. I always been intrigued by learning, working with my hands, and anytime an opportunity came about, I jumped on it. I would never say no. Somebody would say, "You want to learn how to drive a tractor trailer?" Got my Class A license. I just went and did it. It was always something exciting. And that's what really excites me about the facility management, because if you want a job that you're not doing the same thing every day, this is it. There's something different that comes along every time the phone rings. We're probably the most intricate and involved out of any business. We're the backbone. We're the ones that get things done and keep things moving. But 9 out of 10 times we're the silent one in the background. But it's a great job. I think that's it.
Thank you, Ron. So also you did mention about kind of what you did post high school, or how you really entered in terms of education in a brief way, but I wonder if you could expand upon that. And if you did go into detail during your last answer, if you wanted to state maybe some suggestions into how others could make a direct path into FM if maybe that was not your direct path. Talk a little bit about maybe what some of those first steps would be. Eric?
Sure, I'd love to comment on that, Kimberly. I think kind of the way things worked for me in my last few years of high school, I was involved in welding and machine shop, and was asked to participate in our work study program there. So in 12th grade, I went to school half a day, and then I left school and went to work and in a welding shop. So I got my experiences there with layout and technical drawings and fabrication, welding processes, cutting processes, forming processes. Shortly after I graduated, I worked in the field and skipped from welding over to machine work and worked in an automotive machine shop doing engine building and tear downs and magnafluxing cylinder heads, cooking engine blocks, the stuff that goes on behind the scenes for folks restoring cars, folks rebuilding vehicles, things like that. So took a crack at that for a couple of years, and it wasn't long I was offered an opportunity in refrigeration and air conditioning, and I jumped in with both feet. As I said before, a contractor scooped me up. He saw something in me, the fact that I was hungry and wanted to learn, and so he did invest in me, and went to school at night, worked during the day. We're doing supermarket work and cold storage and convenience stores. That's the kind of stuff we used to do in DC and Baltimore back in the 90s. And I got some really, really good experiences there doing that. And I had an excellent teacher. So from there, I progressed and worked my way from the apprentice level on into licensed master of my trade, and went on after about 13-14 years with that contracting firm into some stationary engineering work, some federal sites, we used to do post offices and courthouses and things, operations and maintenance type stuff. I was a boiler operator for a while. And I must say that, my experiences that I gained along the way in doing these jobs, and specifically in HVAC, and my exposure to life safety systems and building automation, it gave me valuable knowledge that was well respected in the eyes of prospective employers, and it gave me great confidence, and it was knowledge I could use in the FM field. Kind of like Gary commented, I almost feel like this field found me instead of me finding it. I followed up on an opportunity with my local school district based on my wife's advice, and was selected for the position. And they saw qualities in me that they evidently liked, and it kind of was unfolded right in front of me. I wasn't chasing it; it just kind of found me, it seemed like. So no regrets whatsoever. Very, very satisfied in what I do for money, and how I'm always seems like I'm helping somebody with some kind of a problem almost all the time. There's a lot of satisfaction that comes with that. Solving a difficult problem, helping someone out of a jam. Really, really gratifying and satisfying work. So yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Thank you, Eric. It shows right there how a particular trade can lead you into FM. Bill, would you like to speak a little bit about your journey, specifically post high school, or some advice you would give to enter the FM field for our students following high school?
Sure, Kimberly, thanks. As I kind of previously alluded to, I had a strange route that I took to the FM world, but after being in the mail operations world with T. Rowe Price for quite a while. Mid 90s, I was running their U.S. operations, their U.S. mail operations, and realized it really wasn't what I wanted to be doing, and I wasn't being challenged anymore. I reached out to my manager, who was responsible for all of facilities and services across the U.S., and kind of took me under his wing and started to show me some things, and got me out and about, working with the engineers, touring the sites, learning a little bit more about maintenance and operations, and eventually was promoted to facilities supervisor under him. And then when he left, we reorganized a little bit, but I became a facilities manager and just kind of worked up through the process of just constantly trying to learn more about the operation, around like, as I mentioned, engineering, maintenance, operations, develop skills in OpEx and capital planning, project management. There's quite a bit of that goes on. Even though we do have our own project management team now, earlier on we did not, and so a lot of the projects were run by the FMs, specifically, depending on which buildings were involved. And so just a lot of that, just building upon experiences, and a lot kind of what Eric alluded to, just learning more, asking questions. I think Ron even mentioned that as well. Trying to just learn as much as you can, and those different types of opportunities will present themselves, typically in those cases, as people begin to rely on you more for different things, and you show that you can handle those things. So again, a weird route to FM, but it's been a very rewarding experience. It continues to be rewarding. I agree with Eric's sentiments that helping people is incredibly fun and rewarding, and when you can go home at night and know that you helped make somebody's day a little better, or fixed a problem for somebody, or whatnot, it's a great feeling. So that's kind of how I got here.
Thank you, Bill. And Gary, I know you mentioned it also a little bit, but maybe expand upon your post-high school career, as well as maybe how you would recommend for some of our students to get involved in FM.
Sure. As I had mentioned, I didn't go out seeking facilities management as a career choice. Some people might say right place, right time kind of a situation, but I believe that you need to put yourself in the right place at the right time as well. There's been a lot of talk over the past 10, 15, 20 years about FM and our industry, and the talent gap that is going to be occurring, and is now occurring in our industry, both from the professional side as well as the trades side. So part of the conversation really has to be as well, is it college or is it trades? And I would say that whatever drives you is what you need to look for. We heard from Eric coming up through the trades into that professional position that he is as FM with Frederick County Schools. That is a very common thread through our FM industry as well. I consider myself to be much more of a generalist. To hear these guys talk specifically about their involvement with mechanicals and HVAC, electrical, I admire them for their ability to get as deeply involved in those areas as they do. I know enough to take care of things and know when to call somebody to take care of it for me. Part of the management piece, I guess you would say, of the facilities. So, again, although I didn't go on my career path specifically looking for this opportunity, when it did come along, when I had that right place, right time moment, you've got to seize it. You've got to make everything you can of it. We've heard a couple of the guys already talk a little bit about learning and growing, and the importance of doing that. And facilities management helping others. Bill, I think you were spot on with that. You feel good when you know that you've made someone's day. But to continue to learn and grow and just feel the satisfaction of knowing that you're continuing to move forward, and in those opportunities of personal growth, you have the chance to impact and influence others as well. There's so much that I get out of the industry. It's not just us putting into the industry. And I'm probably jumping in and out of rabbit holes here. That's what I tend to do. I would say that when you get that opportunity, and I always like to say it that way, when you get that opportunity, seize it, and then whatever you do it with everything that you have. Don't go and half it. Give it everything. Learn, continue to grow. Find the answers. Find the folks that can help. To position yourself and your organization as a world-class organization, because that's what makes the difference.
Thank you, Gary. Great advice. And Ron?
That was really good there, Gary. I started off in high school. I had a carpenter that lived on the street, and also a mason that lived on the street where I lived. So every weekend, they were fighting over me because I became their helper. I was the one doing the bulwark and stacking the bricks and carrying the lumber and cleaning up the job site. So that kind of got me motivated into it. In high school, I went into the VOTEC program. Took a few years of drafting and machine shop as well. Helped set me for my mechanical career for the next several years. Once I started working, worked a lot of shift work. I worked night work. So I tried college early on. It didn't work out as well for me. I was too busy. I'll say too immature at the time to take advantage of the situation. And the money went the other direction, and I would just work. So going forward, over the years, I started taking different college classes and courses that I needed to help benefit my career, business management classes, different accounting courses, things that I needed to get an understanding for what I wanted to get into and to help further me along. Thing that really made a difference, I was already a facility manager, thought I knew a lot. I worked for family-owned companies my entire life. So you kind of get a tunnel vision. You don't realize what's out there on the other end. And then I got involved with IFMA through a good friend of mine. With that, I went ahead, got my CFM, which a few of us on the screen here have. That is like one of the highest rewards you can get as a FM. To become a certified facility manager is amazing. Took it to the next step, got a SFP as well for sustainabilities, because I want my buildings to be the best that they can be. I want to try to do the right thing for the environment, save things, take the right initiative. And I'm still in college, believe it or not, 56 years old, registered at UMUC, still taking classes. And one day I will have that bachelor's degree, but it's a long journey. But all in all, you have some seasoned people here on the conference, and we all have 20, 30 plus years experience behind us. And when we started out, you started out from the ground up, because this really wasn't a career opportunity out there when you're coming in and starting out, especially coming off the high school level. Everyone is pushing to, this has become a career. This is a huge career. Somebody needs to run these buildings and operate them. And we've developed over the years, the FM, that's us. And that's what's out there now. So take advantage of it. If I got one piece of advice, get your education while you're young. Learn this, build it, and then take it forward from there. I have 2 kids. I tell everybody I have a master's degree and a half a bachelor's degree, because my daughter's graduated with her master's, and I've got my son 3/4 of the way through his bachelor's right now. But get it while you're young, take advantage of the opportunities, and work part-time into the facility field and get your feet wet doing some maintenance work. Learn a little bit of the ground up portion of it.
Thank you, Ron. That's a great advice. And another great segue. I want to point out we have 4 phenomenal panelists on today's call that all have many years in the FM industry. We're going to hear next a little bit about what their roles and responsibilities look like now. But there are many other professionals that are earlier on in their career, women, a wide variety of people in the industry. And I want to, point out to our students that if you would like to speak to anybody else in the industry, please let us know. Talk a little bit from other perspectives, because we are there to connect you with those individuals. With that, I would love to hear a little bit about what your day in the life looks like now. Now, I know we know in FM that not every day is the same, and that would be a very difficult thing to answer, but maybe some of the responsibilities that you have in your project and what your project sector is. So a little bit about, the facility that you work at and what those roles and responsibilities look like. Eric?
Thanks, Kimberly. Sure. My department in maintenance and operations, 180 people strong. We own and maintain over 75 schools and office facilities around the county. My team and I primarily plan and execute maintenance activities in school environments on school building systems. They could be mechanical systems, they could be life safety systems, a whole different variety. We have a lot of different things, especially in high schools, with all the instructional equipment in there for the students. Somebody's got to be available to make sure that it's working and solve that problem when something goes wrong. So our performance driver is the optimal learning environment. So what drives us is we seek to provide the most optimal learning environment we can for children so that they get the very best experience in the classroom possible. Not sidelined with uncomfortable conditions or whether or not they're going to have food for lunches that day, not sidelined because they're concerned for their safety as to whether there's going to be an intruder or is the building properly protected from fire and disaster. They've got the proper amount of light. They've got a comfortable classroom. They can relax, let their hair down and concentrate on nothing but the instruction with no distractions. So that's what drives us. And, that leads us into things that could be preventive maintenance activities, predictive maintenance activities. It could be meeting with a stakeholder pertaining to a space modification that is being requested. That could be meeting with stakeholders about a staff relocation project. Wide variety of things we get involved in because we pride ourselves in being able to handle most everything that comes our way without having to lean on contractors and outsourcing certain functions. Not that we don't do that, but we always take first crack at it ourselves. And we've got such a variety of skills that our folks possess and competencies and abilities that we're able to just about handle anything ourselves. We don't engineer jobs and things like that. And when we don't replace large chillers and boilers and stuff, but we oversee those jobs, so we're involved in them. We get to see it happen, how it happens, and we're instrumental in, how we want to see it go down. Some equipment that gets chosen. So we play a part in that. Somewhat like Bill had commented, we're involved in capital planning because, we know our equipment best. We know what equipment is riddled with problems and is always creating an issue for the building occupants and the stuff that we struggle keeping maintained and keeping working properly. So our advice is good, sound advice when it comes to capital planning. I also help out a great deal with recruiting for my organization, and I've gotten a lot of experience in what recruiting is like in seeking out tradespeople that can perform these jobs. And I'll also add that in our organization, supervisors and foremen, unlike what you might see on at a mechanical contracting firm, our supervisors and foremen in our organization are facility managers because of the vast, diverse amount of competencies that they're, just about all the time required to be able to perform. So just like Ron was saying, never boring, never the same. You just don't know what's going to be on the other end of that call when that phone rings and what you're going to be asked to assist with or help with, oversee, or what have you. So exciting work, folks, really is.
Thank you, Eric. Our students on the call can likely relate to the types of buildings you work with because they are schools themselves, but have never likely thought about all the behind the scenes work to keep them functioning, operating, which is a huge portion of making them successful. Now, Bill, I know you talked a little bit about the T. Rowe Price job that you work on, but could you explain a little bit about what that facility is in terms of what they do and what the environment is like and your specific role within managing that facility?
Sure. So not unlike Eric's role, obviously we have a large built environment here. It's not 75 buildings, but we do have a 6-building campus that I was responsible for as of the beginning of this year. And basically, I don't want to roll through all the same things, but yeah, very common to the explanation Eric gave, in that it is our responsibility. We don't have students in our buildings, but we have associates in our buildings, and it is our responsibility to maintain the uptime of these facilities so those people can do their work for T. Rowe Price. And again, lighting, HVAC, just the physical environment, the comfort of the associates, security. One of the things that hasn't really been discussed so far is that a lot of times facilities also is responsible for the service side. So in my experience, I've been responsible for things like our general services staff, who manage a whole host of miscellaneous services, including event support, like our annual stockholders meetings and client visits and things of that nature, where we make sure that everything is exactly the way that it needs to be for those events to be successful. Also on the service side is mail. I mentioned that before. The security, food service, fitness center operations, things like that. So there's a whole host of things that a facilities manager can find themselves responsible for. Most recently, I've moved into a new role that's more, I would say, policy-based, and I'm actually managing T. Rowe Price's sustainability program for the most part right now, including things like waste management, our communications program to associates to enlighten them about our efforts and how they can help. We submit a greenhouse gas emission report to the Carbon Disclosure Project every year. A lot of things around that. Our innovation program, emergency evacuation programs, systems administration for our internal systems that we use in support of the T. Rowe Price account. And obviously, most recently, and I'm sure everyone's been involved in this year, is our COVID response and our return to office logistics plans I've been involved in as well. So just a whole host of things that you can find yourself involved in the FM world. And I will reiterate what everyone has said, because it was my number one bullet point, is that if you're looking for a job that is the same every day that you walk in, FM is probably not for you.
Thank you, Bill. I mean, a lot of our East Baltimore students I know are very interested in sustainability efforts. So that's a very unique side of it to add to the conversation, the hands-on, effect that you have on sustainability for your facilities. So thank you. I know a lot has been covered in terms of roles and responsibilities, but Gary, is there anything that you would like to add in terms of things outside of those roles and responsibilities that you do? And in addition, if you could expand a little bit on the facility that you currently work at in terms of what that environment's like.
Sure. It's hard to add on. The guys have done a great job talking about all many aspects of facilities management, from planning and forecasting and budgeting, things that we get involved with, stakeholder relations, and it's interesting we talk about customer relations when it's really stakeholders, because there are so many different layers and levels of individuals that have an impact on the facility, and that the facility has an impact on. So understanding who those stakeholders are, in dealing with facilities management from an operations and a maintenance perspective, and those are two different concepts, and a lot of folks don't realize that we talk about maintenance, we're talking about dealing with the systems within the building and scheduling for those preventive maintenance, as opposed to operations, which is making sure that the building as a whole, as a unit, is performing the way it's designed to perform for the end user. So there are two different distinct things. Bill, it was great to hear you talk about the sustainability piece. I think that's a huge part of facilities management. That if we don't recognize it as being part and parcel to what we do every moment of every day, then we're really missing the boat on our jobs. Providing for a safe and healthy environment. Ultimately, I work at a retirement community north of Baltimore. Senior population. We talked about COVID. Bill mentioned a few moments ago, and the challenges that brought to us here at Mercy Ridge. No 2 days are the same. Heck, no 2 minutes are the same. I'm talking to my boss about one thing a few weeks ago, and before the conversation ended, I was out trying to figure out how to construct or build in some visitation stations inside of our facility, so that resident family members coming to visit aren't going into their apartments and wandering through the facility as a whole, but we're able to direct them safely into a particular space with visitation pods set up in that space. So it could change that fast. From boilers and chillers and big mechanicals to making arrangements to hang Christmas lights and Christmas trees. It's all over the board. The COVID, and I don't want to jump into the COVID rabbit hole, but that's really been a challenge for us in the facilities world. And we've had to make hard decisions and take hard positions and hard stances. For a facility 850,000 square feet with 550 residents. Unfortunately, just last week we had our first resident case, but we went 8 months COVID-free here at the facility because of the things we were doing, providing for a healthy and safe environment, increasing air exchanges, improvement on the filtration of our air systems, just controlling traffic. All those things can change in a moment's time, and I think this past year really showed us that. And it just keeps you on your game. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Gary. That's a great expansion. I think it's a unique sector in terms of living and housing, and especially in retirement community and in the different aspects you control there. For the sake of time, Ron, if you want to expand slightly on your role within Martin's Catering, if there's anything outside of what was already been spoke about, or just particularly what kind of facilities is underneath your
Sure. I oversee 6 different large catering facilities throughout the Baltimore, DC area, about 25,000 square feet total. 250,000 square feet total of space. I think the guys have touched base on just about every aspect you can name, but we handle it all. I mean, life safety wise is probably one of the most important things. being in the hospitality industry, first impressions is everything. Our clients walking through the door and getting the wow factor and seeing our buildings and having great food and a great atmosphere, that's what brings them back. That's their business. Their clients mean everything to us. What we do behind the scenes every day to make sure that things go flawless is what we do as FMs. Can't stress it enough. If there's something that wiggles, moves, has anything to do building shell, it's us. We touch every aspect of it all the way through. One last thing on the management side, a facility manager is one of the key intricate roles when it comes to sitting down and having board meetings or team meetings with any business property. You are one of the key people sitting at the table, listening, hearing what's going on, ideas, things for the future of the businesses, because you're the one who has to put your thought and build your team around that to carry those things forward. So this is a huge career opportunity with a ton of challenges. I'm not saying this is an easy job by any means. It has plenty of challenges, but it is a very enjoyable career that you can take, and the world, sky's the limit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. I know we are over our time, but I want to give our students about 30 seconds. If you have any questions that you would like to put in to the Q&A feature or the chat box, please do so now. While we wait for those questions to come in, I'll open it up to our panelists. If there's any last, I know a ton of great advice has come through today. I think all of our students, including myself, are excited to watch this recording back over and just absorb all of this information, because I know there's been a lot and not talked about enough. If there's any last minute pieces of advice, I'll open up the floor for that as we wait to see if any questions come in. Give it another few seconds.
If I might, I'm just going to throw this out there. One of the things that has transpired in my life over the years of FM is having the opportunity to move into a teacher, instructor, mentoring role as well. The years that we've put in and the years that we've learned, and I think I could speak for all the guys that are on the call on this. It's what we've learned, we don't want to take away when we leave. We've got to get it back to people to continue to carry on that torch. So the one thing that I would say is continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to challenge yourselves. Look for those opportunities. Plug in, meet the people that can help, even if it's helping to open up a door. You can't always get to the right person that's going to give you the job, but you can get to the right person that can pass your name around, your level of interest, those kinds of things. That's really what I think we're looking to try to do.
Thank you, Gary. That kind of segues right into the one question we did receive. It is from one of our East Baltimore students who asked if they wanted to get experience or an opportunity such as an internship in the field of FM, would there be a good place to start or a recommended sector that they should start in? If anyone's open to the floor again.
This is Don Blues. I'll jump in on this one.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah, doing really well in school is a big incentive in applying for internship programs. There are a lot of large companies out there and small companies that do offer internships. So, get your name out there, look at those big companies, sign up for internship programs, JLL, Aramar, Sodexo, Cushman Wakefield, CBRE. Those are some of the big ones in the real estate field. Reach out to them. Try to sign up for their programs. I can tell you they are looking right now for the 2021 programs.
Thank you, Don. And Kelvin, who asked the question, who I know through Christopher Owings Middle School, to Kelvin and any of our other students, if you have interest particularly in this field or experience that you would like to gather. We will work, contact me. I will work with our contacts within IFMA Chesapeake and in the panelists on the call today. We'll see what information we can gather, those specific names, or gather some more information for you to get looking into those opportunities. Similarly, I think I know the answer to this, but I'll open it up to the board. Another question came in about where to go to find more information and how old you would have to be able to start working in the profession or get an internship. If anyone knows if there's a commonplace requirement for that and where they could go to get more information, we'll also make sure to send it out, but I'll open that up to the floor also, either one of those questions. You have to be 18 likely for most of our facilities management positions. I would assume for internships, again, I think we would need to connect to see if there are any internship opportunities for students still in high school. If anyone has, I'll start with that question. If anyone has knowledge on that answer.
Well, I can't speak for the industry as a whole, but I know for myself at Mercy Ridge, I've had a number of interns come through, one from the college level and one from the high school level. The high school was a construction management intern who's actually working with us right now on a renovations team. He was 17 coming in and was limited to what tools he can work with, but once he turned 18, and he recently has, it opens up a whole new world for him of learning. How to find more information out about the industry itself. My IFMA commercial, I guess, for the day. I would plug in with IFMA.org. It's the national website of the Chesapeake chapter, IFMA Chesapeake. Again, supporting the local region for facilities management. A good place to plug in and start to meet people, find out what we have going on event-wise. Try to plug in. That's where the benefit is.
Thank you, Gary. I think that highlights, especially to our students on the call, looking at work opportunities. It'll really depend on the facility and the organization hiring itself. So we'll work on connecting some opportunities as we come across them. But I hope that today's conversation was a great starting point to be able to expand your eyes to, all the opportunities that lie within facilities management and all the career opportunities, to come. I want to thank
Kimberly, this is Don Blue again. Just to jump in and just kind of go on top of what Gary was saying. We have student members within the chapter, and if people want to get involved, if all of you high school students want to get involved with the chapter, there is a tremendous amount of networking. We have approximately 200 members that are in all the different fields within facility management and all the related fields to facility management, and there are a myriad of job opportunities to get your foot in the door.
Thank you. I think it's a great sentiment. Students, if you have interest, I can help connect you. Yeah, Ron.
One additional thing, Kimberly, in reference to our IFMA association as well and teaching, we will have some courses structured coming up for Essentials of FM and the FMP class, which Gary teaches as well. We're very strong on the educational side and bringing this forward out here for the community, for our FM community. So that's a huge way to look forward to go. You can visit ifma.org and also look us up on the IFMA Chesapeake website. Thank
you, Ron. What I'm going to work to do and work with our partners here at IFMA, we'll compile some information and put it in a Google Doc with this recording for our students that you're accessing in the drive, just to be able to have everything in one spot. And I'll make sure I get these opportunities out to all of our students, because the networking opportunities as well as the education training opportunities will be large in taking your next steps. I know we have went over our time, but I thank you all so much for joining us today. To our panelists, to IFMA Chesapeake, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity to spread the word on FM, and looking forward to continuing to do so. Thank you to our students on the call, and don't forget this Thursday we have our scholarships webinar next week about additional skilled trades and apprenticeships. So be sure to check your emails about information on that, and thank you all again. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a great
Thank you,
evening.
everybody, all my panelists. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.